Hello and welcome to video 2 of my review of the SCZ two-stroke 29cc reed valve engine, racing engine as they call it. It's a direct competitor or a knockoff, effectively a Chinese knockoff of the BZM, which has got reasonably good reviews. This is the SCZ, as I say. I don't think I've heard of anybody that's sort of really that have actually run one of these things saying that they're a bad engine. There's a lot of people that sort of put them down by saying, "Oh yeah, Chinese knockoff, really basically anti-Chinese." Well, yeah, at the end of the day, you pays your money, you takes your choice. These things, the SCZ is at the current market prices anyway, approximately half of what a BZM, if you could get hold of a BZM, that is, half of what a BZM would be. The previous video was an unboxing. I did upload 2 more videos with a sort of bit of a strip down. Somehow they've been deleted off YouTube. I don't think I encroached on any copyright issues or anything of that nature, but basically they've been taken down and disappeared. So this is now video 2, or will be video 2. Basically, I've sort of started to take it apart with the intention. You can see the mesh behind. Basically, with the intention of doing the mesh mod to this. I mentioned on the unboxing, or certainly one of the later videos, which you probably can't see now, that you've got some very large holes, which is good for the air, sucking the air in, but also very good for sucking in everything else as well. So, okay, you can't see it with the fan in position, but there are some large holes, which, as I say, when I take the fan magneto off, you can actually see there's some very large holes there. And also there's a big gap up the side here, and basically around the coil position, that when it's in position, down here as well. Yeah, it's good for letting air in or sucking air in when the fan's sort of operating, but it's also good for sucking in grass, everything else that we bashers, the 5th scale bashers, or indeed racers. You don't want stuff being sucked in there, stones. You can just imagine a stone getting sucked in here or pulled in here, mashed up by the coil, by the fan, and yes, it's going to make a mess, if not break many fins off the fan there. So yeah, let's avoid it. Going to use the mesh. Comparatively simple. It's a nice flat substrate on there, so I'm literally just going to cut the mesh to suit. The 4 bolt positions there and there, they will hold down the main bit of mesh. Obviously, cut at the centre for the where the crankshaft comes through. Basically, it'll go on there, and I'm going to just put some epoxy glue around as well, just to hold the mesh in position. Because again, I don't want the mesh being sucked up into tangling into the core, into the fan. Around this side, it's going to be a bit more complicated because around here, there's the gap position there, and there. Once the coil is in position, see if I can just quickly put that in place. It doesn't want to play ball, right? Yeah, okay. So when the coil's in position, you still end up with some quite large gaps. Focuses beneath the coil there and around the top. So I'm going to somehow try and cut the mesh in such a way that I can close off these gaps. Again, you see around. It's not going to work because it's all unbolted. Yeah, basically around the top, so around there, you've got a very large sort of hole there. So I need to get this all blocked off. Just quick, whilst I've sort of taken the thing apart, you can see a bit more of the milling, the CNC or milling on the aluminium. Seems quite consistent, actually. They've milled down to a set dimension. So in some cases, you've got casting, bare casting. In other places, they've actually done a decent job of milling it flat. One thing I did notice, these 2 halves, when fitted together, quite a nice tight fit. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so bear with me. that's just on the strength. The two halves are holding together, just on the strength of the how close the aluminium is fitting to each other. There's no fixings on there now, which is just push that through. So I'll give it a shake, and eventually, is it? No, yes, it does come off. You can see there's a very small lip around there. So that's basically, it was just the friction grip of those two holding each other together. The bit that I liked with that is, again, with the CYs and Zenoas, it's typically this is plastic onto aluminium, or sort of hard plastic, and there's no strength through it all. When this thing is all bolted together, actually it's quite rigid, which it needs to be, because you see the two mounting points down there. They are literally the only mount points for the engine back to the actual chassis itself. So obviously when that's all bolted in position, so get the thing on square. Right. So when that's all bolted in position, you've got your 4 bolts down there, and you end up then with your two mount points there, back down to your chassis of whatever car you're running. There's nothing else there on the bottom. So there's this small point there. You could put a spacer in. I haven't checked that yet. Back on the Lozzie. I'm going to put this on the 5T, I've decided. So the only mount points effectively would then be where the clutch housing actually bolts through to your transmission and such like. Your centre mounts. So yeah, it would have been nice to have a couple more fixings somewhere along the line in the engine, but there we go. It's going to be firm enough or fixed well enough. One other thing, I've used quite a coarse, or going to be using quite a coarse mesh aluminium, so it's got a bit of rigidity. So let's bend the corner up. It will hold a bend. So as I say, when I adhere it to this edge here, bend it for a 90 degree, and then bridge across, because there's no fixing points or anywhere I can sort of fix the mesh on this edge. So I'm just literally going to cut it so it bridges up to the fins of the cylinder there, and same on the other side, because I don't want to be fixing to this side and that side. I'll just fix to the actual housing. Using a much finer mesh, try and put the two on top of each other. So you can see there, this one's minute compared to this one. This one was I got that from Wix. I think it was £5 for a, I don't know, 500 by 250 wide sheet. I'll zoom back. So it's quite a large sheet, to be honest. This is enough there to do 2 or 3, if not 4 engines. So there's plenty of mesh there. This one was just again, I think that was probably the same price, or 3 or 4 quid. Just an aluminium mesh isopon. So that's basically for car repairs, that sort of thing. And I happened to buy that from P38 is the brand, but who cares what brand it is? It's just a very fine aluminium mesh. Now, that wouldn't have been any good at all in here, because I think stones and such like would have penetrated it. So I'm going to use that one on the, there we go, on the actual pull cord housing. So I'll use that mesh instead of again, fixed to the inside, just glue it in position. And I'll use that instead of an outerwear sleeve or one of the aftermarket sleeves, nylon sleeves. They're okay, but they don't last very long. I've had 3 over the period of just over a year that have split and damaged. They get dirty. You try and clean them. They're just not durable enough. I'm thinking the mesh, this stuff, will work better. It'll be mounted on the inside of these. If I need to get a toothbrush or something on there to get it clean if it gets muddy, I can do that. Whereas the outerwear sleeves, that fit on the outside of this typically with a bit of Velcro around the outside, I found they're not durable. So it's sort of anything from 10, 12 up to £20 a piece. It depends where you buy them from, and how friendly you are with the suppliers or distributors. They're a lot of money for what they are. This mesh, it'll be fitted once, permanent job, and that's it. It'll last as long as this housing will. As you can see, I've not replaced the pull yet. It's still plastic, and I haven't replaced the pull cord yet. Been too busy at work, so this is the first time I've started to do something on the engine for a long while. Once I've finished, I'm not going to do an as I do it video because I'm trying to do this one-handed. So I'll do a completed video. I'll let you know how difficult it was. I'm not really anticipating any major problems, but I'll do a quick catch-up video once I've finished. So if I don't speak to you before, or hear from you before, or you hear from me before, it's very close to Christmas, so Christmas crackers. You may, and I'm using the dining table, I might add, so the wife's not going to be too pleased if I start getting epoxy everywhere, but yeah, I'll have this all done by Christmas, so hopefully the video will be up by then. Okay, cheers, goodbye.